What is up, fellow YouTubers? We're live on Facebook and live on QuickTime Player, making a little night video before I pass out. And, well, we're gonna grab ourselves a pinch of that Lucky Lipper, and we're gonna just spit you know, some facts. Yes, this is a sick Ozzy shirt. I got it at the concert. Shit you not. It was like his last concert before he had to cancel those 4 tours shows left, and then literally the pandemic hits, and now it's like, so now no one's in concert at the moment. It is what it is. Got to see Ozzy perform live at 70, and it was just the greatest night of my life, dude. I'm sitting there in Colorado chiefing down on some weed, drinking some Jack Daniels while watching Ozzy perform. It was fucking epic. And I was getting into it too, man. I tell you what. But anyways, tubes and Facebook, back to what I was gonna say. You ever notice that there's so much drama in our world? I mean, people get bored with life real easily, so they create drama because they want things to be interesting, right? But then they sit there and complain about it. It's like, okay, drama isn't going to make things better. It's just going to make things worse. So if you stay drama-free, and sometimes staying drama-free is hard, to be honest, Facebook and YouTube. You know, you could spend your whole life being a peaceful person, and then people just, for whatever reason, feel this unnecessary urge to rip on you. I don't get it, man. I really don't. And quite frankly, it's irritating. You know, I deal with so much drama on social media, trolls trying so hard to fuck with me, it's ridiculous. So, it's nice to be able to go to a friend's house and just hang out for a couple hours and get away from the drama, you know? I don't care who the friend is, you know what I'm saying? Ooh-wee. Speaking of drama, though, if you go around spreading lies about people that aren't true, you have a way of ruining their life and making them do a bunch of shit that, you know, they otherwise wouldn't have or want to do. And just leave it at that. That's as basic as it's going to be. I'm not going into detail, but that's how I see it. And truth be told, if you wouldn't like it being said about you, then why say it to someone else? Leaving it at that, pack ourselves a pinch of Mountain Dew flavored dip. Yeah. I am trying to cut back on smoking tobacco a little bit, but not too much, you know. And, I don't plan on quitting, but cutting down a little bit wouldn't hurt. When I used to get a pack of smokes, I could make it last 4 days, easy. And then it gets to the point where the pack's gone in 1 day and I want a cigarette. I'm like, dude. I love Marlboro NXTs, but yeah. Plus, I was killing it on the vocal covers today, man, on that YouTube live video. Went from Bryan Adams to, what's his face, Bruno Mars. Yeah. Not exactly my cup of tea entirely, but I'll sing it just to prove that I can. Well, Mr. Adams is more rock and roll, so, you know, and anyone who knows me, I like rock and roll. Yeah. Yeah, there's so much drama in our world. It's not just it's not just in general, it's on the dating scene too. Drama has infiltrated a lot of parts of our culture. It's almost ingrained into our culture, like American Pie, or or watching South Park. In a way, it's of drama is what I'm getting at. I would have been over at my friend's house earlier, but they were dealing with some personal stuff, so I didn't know when that was gonna, so I just stayed away for a bit, That's the thing of it, dude. We all got personal issues. Doesn't matter who you are. Leaving it at that. When I see my friends going through issues in life, I want to be there to help and make things a better place in any way, shape, or form that I can. But when you see someone else struggling with their own personal issues, sometimes just staying out of it's your best option. Life will test you. Doesn't matter what it is. You sit there and say you're going to work on your temper. Yeah. It's weird too, because I've been doing really good on my fucking temper, and then I accidentally break my phone, and then I lost my temper. That's my point exactly. And nothing you can do about it at this point except, do what I do best. Yeah. Sell a couple batches of wands if I have to. It's not a problem. But honestly, I'll get a new phone when I do. I'm not worried about it, If I got to work my ass off to get it, so be it, It's just part of adulting. You fuck up, you fix it. Ooh-wee. You want my advice on finding companionship that's the same age as you? Try to find someone that you share a physical and mental attraction with. You can't have the physical attraction without the mental attraction. Now, I said it before on my channel, and it's the damn truth. Yet, the society we live in, without being mean about it, dictates that if men acknowledge their physical attraction to women, they get called pigs. They get told, all you men are just the same. But women also have a physical attraction to men. Some. I'm not going to say all. Some. Okay? Plain and simple. So it's kind of unfair for women to give men shit for the same thing they do, and vice versa. This is part of what I do on YouTube, is the gender relations and, try to help women and men see things from each other's perspective so they come to an understanding like, oh hey, you're constantly hearing women and men bitch about how they can't communicate with the opposite sex because they're so complicated. I'm like, well, that's because you're focusing on the differences instead of the similarities. This battle of the sexes is bullshit. And that's why gender relations suck. Yep. I got mad respect for women, even if they don't respect me, no matter how frustrating the dating scene gets. That's just the truth, dude. Because you gotta look at it from their perspective. You got someone who wants to physically penetrate you. It'd be a little off-putting. I don't care what gender you are. I mean, if you were a woman in a bar and some 300-pound, sweaty, hairy dude came up to you and started hitting on you, I mean, you gotta think of it from their perspective. They're like, nope, this thing's big enough to kick my ass and it wants to fuck me? No. Right. And that's why that double standard exists, basically. Is because of the crap women have to go through in our society. Men may think it's unfair that if a woman says she doesn't like fat dudes, people don't sit there and say, oh, you're fat shaming, because there is no body positivity movement for men. We're either expected to have six-pack abs or be disgusting and hairy. There is no in-between for us. And the only reason that exists is because women are set to a higher beauty standard in our society. And it's crap because that affects both genders in the end. That's why it's called a double standard. Hey, man, fat people need loving too. And if you don't like them, ain't nothing wrong with that. If you don't like them, ain't nothing wrong with that. That's not your type. Who cares? You know? Like, it's not fat shaming if you say that that's not your type. It's called having a standard. And to be fair, everyone has standards. You know? So don't get discouraged if you don't have the perfect body. You know, fuck that shit, dude. Shit. It's ridiculous. And to some varying degree, YouTube, women and men deal with similar issues, but to a different degree. You know? Women are sitting there watching TV and they see a Victoria's Secret model pop on with a Victoria's Secret ad, and they just look at her like, wishing they had her body. So of course they're sitting there with their gal pals, and every one of them takes turns slut shaming the model because that's what women do. But meanwhile, when men are sitting there watching an action-packed movie, there's like 4 chicks sitting in front of him, and you know, some big explosion happens, and the main hero, the main man of that video, his shirt's ripped off and there's a big explosion. It's you know. Women everywhere sitting there gushing over his six-pack abs, and you're sitting there behind him going, I hate the way I look. I'm one of those, I could have a six-pack abs, but I enjoy a six-pack of beer more. But then here's the best part of it, and this is what gets me about our society. So all these companies start making an effort to be more body positive for women, featuring heavy-set models, thicker models. And there are some women who complained about it. I shit you not. I'm like, okay, this is why men find women confusing. Oh yeah, no disrespect to Sydney Watson, but she made that video about the Gillette Venus ad saying how it's going to encourage women to be morbidly obese, and I'm like, That's a bit of a stretch. I mean, you know, there are some people who don't feel comfortable with the way they look, so they see that people are making an effort, you know, to be more body positive. It makes them feel better about themselves. And, well, you're literally seeing a parallel in our society. Back in the day, the anorexic look was in. If you weren't skinny enough, you know, now if you're not fat enough, it's just weird how that flips, you know. It's frustrating watching women go through this crap. It's like, you know, this is why being a woman sucks. You know, I don't envy them for that at all. I actually feel kind of bad. I mean, men are dealing with this crap too, but not nearly as bad, you know. It's either you have dad bod or you have six pack. There is no in between. I mean, now you're seeing a trend where even the gender dynamic and the racial dynamic are flipped. And that might be too far, but it's the truth. To some degree, it still happens to women and minorities, but now it's becoming more acceptable to hate whites. When not all of us are like that, which is something I've heard women and minorities say too, to be fair. This notion that all white people are racist is no different than assuming, you know, racial stereotypes of other minorities. And that's the goddamn truth without being a dick about it. Because you know that one white honky motherfucker that's marching around in the KKK hood is just making the white people look bad. You're like, dude, would you just stop? You're giving us a bad name. You ignorant, inbred son of a bitch. Ooh-wee. Your daddy was drinking moonshine and fucked his sister, and that's how you was born. Oh, that's horrible. What, the stereotype that KKK members are inbred white assholes? That too far? No? That's pretty much on point. Call themselves the Grand Wizard. And I'm over here like, Avada Kedavra, bitch. Ooh-wee. Gonna hang these sheets up in the trees to dry. They're a little wet. Okay, that's too far. Yeah. Anyway. And truth be told, the Black Panthers would not have had to have been created if the KKK never existed. That's the goddamn truth. And if you're one of those white supremacist assholes that thinks a certain way, ask yourself, how would it feel to be in an African American person's shoes, knowing that your people have been fucked with for the last 300 years? I mean, we got into some murky waters with that Sydney Watson video response that I did, and I wasn't trying to pick on Sydney, I was just making a fair point. You know. And I don't care what side you're on, if you're not peacefully protesting and you start being violent, at that point, you're no longer peacefully protesting, you're rioting. And 9 times out of 10, rioting doesn't solve anything. It makes things worse. At that point, the cause for your peaceful protest becomes lost when you start putting people's lives in danger, you know, doing stupid shit like that. I mean, there's a whole list of topics we could get into with this, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole because, regrettably, people are way too easily offended in today's society. I don't even have to get political on YouTube or Facebook. All I gotta do is sit here and dip and spit into a cup or a spittoon, what have you, and people are grossed out and offended. Now it's great because I get off social media to escape the drama. And life can be unfair sometimes, but all you can do is make the best of it. And sometimes it could be worse. And here's the best part of it, YouTube. Pretty much all the bars here in Casper are opened back up. So there are some areas of the country that aren't that lucky. So I feel like a lot of my trolls are just talking shit because they're stuck in quarantine and they're like, fuck Cobra. It's an autistic piece of shit. I'm like, if you're going to drive by in your pickup truck and shout fuck you out the window and keep driving, you're real ballsy, dude, because you know you can't legally hit me because I'm autistic, so all you can do is sit there and talk shit because you're jealous. You're like, this guy's a successful entrepreneur despite having Asperger's. And ladies think he's a badass. Oh, you don't even know, YouTube. I went outside to check on the ashtray and let this cute chick in the building. She caught a whiff of that tactical soap because I just got done showering, putting on some of that beard oil. Hoo-hoo-wee. I didn't have to get fucked to know it works. Instant. And that's why I'm not in a rush to get laid. Fuck off, I'm a YouTube celebrity. It can be frustrating at times, I will admit that, but at the same time you gotta realize, you know, maybe I could practice what the fuck I preach for once instead of being the world's biggest fucking hypocrite. Yeah. Ew-wee. Oh, despite having autism, you know why I'm successful to a degree with women while they pick up on what I'm laying down? I don't have to flirt with them or be aggressive with my flirting. Just a casual smile. It's all about that Cobra charm, baby. Yeah. Ew-wee. And then, you know, that's just it. I get crap for the way I dress, but then again, so do women, and I'm sick of it. If I'm sitting there dressed in my camo and an Aussie shirt, people are gonna look at me like, what the fuck are you supposed to be? I'm a metalhead, I'm goth, I'm a bit of a civil rights activist, and I'm fighting the good fight. And you could be a civil rights activist just using a YouTube channel, making your voice heard. That's the key, YouTube. Ooh-wee. But this is where I'm going to say what I need to say, alright? If you cannot peacefully protest without having a gun at the ready, there's a problem with our society. You want to protest gun rights because you're a gun-loving American, you have that right. But doing it at a Black Lives Matter rally is so goddamn insensitive, it just makes my skin crawl. And sure, that might piss a couple folks off, but I'm like, dude, and if you have to be explained to why that's insensitive, then you really are a prat. You know that, right? Let's see, an innocent person was killed by a racist cop using a gun. So you would think that carrying guns to a peaceful protest, protesting that violence would be insensitive, and that people would have enough fucking common sense to be like, oh, hey, you know, how would I feel if I was this skin color, you know? I'd be like, dude, come on. And on top of it, you get minorities who are attacking innocent cops who are standing peacefully protesting with them, walking up. It's not just minorities, dude. I've seen people do that crap, and I'm like, that's just gonna make things worse. Fucking idiots. And I'm serious. I'm not trying to be a racist. I mean, if you can't support blue lives without being called a fucking racist, there's a problem. And that might sound controversial, but look, it's like I said earlier, not all cops are like that. Not all women are stuck-up bitches. Not all men are pigs. And oh yeah, trust and believe, dude. Men and women get judged off the clothes they wear. If it's hot as fuck outside and a chick's wearing a low-cut t-shirt because she doesn't want boob sweat, there might be some other women who judge her for the way she dresses. She might get called a slut because she's showing them off, and it's like, excuse me, dude? Fuck you. Women wearing a low-cut t-shirt in the summertime is the same exact reason why men free ball in the summer. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical for adults 21 and up. And what I may say next may come off as controversial, but hear me out. Regrettably, people are assholes to each other, And I also feel like that if we allow women to trash talk men because of all the crap that women have had to go through, that's kind of the two wrongs don't make a right scenario. If anything, that's just going to make men distrust women even more, and then the cycle's never going to end, is it? At some point, the genders have to come together and be like, yeah, you know, we're all in this shit together, so... People are always going on about, well, if you're a good cook, you'll blah, 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 blah. That's true for both genders. Women and men both love food. And if you learn to be a good cook, oh, trust and motherfucking belief. You don't even know. You got a woman who's never had a man cook her a meal. And out of nowhere, she's sitting there and he whips out a delicious pasta and pours a nice fancy wine. You know, maybe he puts a fancy cloth on the table, lights a couple of candles. Blows her fucking mind. Which is my next and final point to this whole shindig. There are some women who are, and some men who are not used to being treated good on the dating scene. So when they have someone who's actually good for them, it can be a bit of a shock. And there are some women and men who reject it because they feel like they're not good enough or they crave drama. And why, for the life of me, people crave drama is beyond me. Ooh-wee. Fucking ridiculous. Ooh-wee. Got a little bit of cigarette tobacco for later. That'll be nice. Well, anyways, YouTube, I'm gonna grab a glass of water and wrap up this here night video. Anyways, YouTube, thank you all for watching the video, and I'll catch you cool cobras later.